everyone. Welcome to Empowering Exceptional Minds, the podcast diving into neurodiversity through real conversations with parents, individuals, and professionals on challenges, strengths, and unique experiences. I'm your host, Maayan Glazer-Koren, an educational therapist, ADHD educator, and ASD specialist. At Educational Therapy LLC, my private practice, we support kids and adults with executive function and learning differences toward confidence and independence. This podcast is a collaboration with Wiz Therapy, connecting individuals to providers and streamlining services for neurodiverse communities. Our goal is to share strategies, stories, and insights to empower families, educators, and professionals. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of this podcast or Wiz Therapy. The conversations here are for information and empowerment, not a substitute for professional or medical advice. And most importantly, if you are experiencing a mental health emergency, please dial 911 immediately, or you can text 741-741 to reach the crisis text line in the US for support. Hi everyone. Today's episode is dedicated to someone very special, someone who changed the entire course of my life, someone who was in every way that mattered, my honorary mother. It took me a long time to find the words because how do you talk about someone you loved so deeply? How do you describe a person whose impact lives in your work, your values, and even your voice? I really hope I'm not going to cry while recording this. And I want to begin with a sentence Sue once corrected me on while I was working with a client when I did my internship with her. She said, "Don't tell the client you're proud of them. Tell them you're impressed with their work and effort." That was Sue. Gentle, wise, intentional, kind, compassionate, always thinking about the message beneath the words. Sue Strand was my mentor, my guide, and truly one of the people I was closest to in this world. She's the reason I became an educational therapist. She opened the door I didn't even know existed, a world I didn't yet understand, not about learning differences, not about neurodiversity, and honestly, not even about myself. I didn't know I was neurodiverse until just a few years ago, but I met Sue almost 20 years ago, long before I understood any of that. Back then, I wasn't thinking about educational therapy. I didn't know what it was, what it meant, or how profoundly it could change someone's life. Sue changed that. Sue changed me. We lost Sue the week before Thanksgiving. She was about 77 years old, and losing a mentor feels like losing part of your foundation. The person who believed in you long before you believed in yourself. When my son needed support 11 years ago, Sue was the one who assessed him. She worked with him, guided him, and held our family through that vulnerable moment. That was when I fell in love with this work. I was mind blown. That was the moment my calling became clearer, although I didn't take the steps to become one. But today, it is not about me. This entire episode is about Sue, her heart, her life, and the way she changed children's lives, families' lives, and their entire future. So many of Sue's former clients are adults now. Many are parents themselves, and they still write to her, sharing their successes, their gratitude, their memories of learning to read, learning to trust, and learning to believe in themselves. I remember every time she got a letter or, Christmas photograph of a family she worked with, or an email. She was so touched that people still remember how she helped them, right, in those difficult times. She taught countless children to read. She supported families with limited resources. She made sure children receive evaluations and accommodations when schools said no. She advocated fiercely. I remember her calling districts, attending IEP meetings, standing up for students who didn't have a voice. I remember this little boy in particular, when I was in her office. Again, I did my internship with her, and he was in second grade. I'm guessing he's in high school now, but he was in second grade back then, very anxious, overwhelmed, running out of the classroom, hiding under tables. No one could connect with him. No one except Sue. It took her a while, but at the end, he trusted her and he let her in. And she supported his mother, guided them through the school system, and helped stabilize a family drowning in stress and fear. That was Sue. She always saw the child behind the behavior. It's funny because last year she started doing some exercises, and she worked out with somebody who came to her house, like a coach. And he told her that he had a hard time in school, so she wanted to help him and work with him. And even when she was not feeling well anymore, she was still trying to help others. So let me share a little bit about her professional journey, because it reflects a lifetime of service. She had a bachelor in elementary education, and she was a teacher in San Diego Unified School District. She was also a teacher in Germany. She moved to Germany for a few years and taught there. And then she came back and she was a substitute teacher in LA Unified, and then a substitute teacher in San Jose Unified School District. And then in 97, she completed the educational therapy graduate program at UC Santa Cruz Extension. And then she founded Educational Strategies, LLC, with another provider, Nancy. And it was their private practice. So there's definitely a decade of service, decades of helping children grow, learn, and thrive, decades of changing lives quietly, steadily, and compassionately. Sue saw every child as capable, brilliant, and worthy, long before everyone else did. And she passed that belief to me. Her legacy lives on in every student she supported, every family she helped, and in every educational therapist she inspired, including myself. So I wanted to say thank you, Sue, for opening this path for me. Thank you for seeing me, guiding me, and believing in me. And thank you for dedicating your life to the children who needed you the most. This episode is for you. Your impact continues through all of us who carry your work forward. Before we close this episode, I want to share a few words from others who their lives Sue touched. Sue was, and this is one of them. I collected few words from providers that worked with Sue, from families who worked with Sue. So this is from a provider who worked with Sue. He's developmental pediatrician, Dr. Damien Korb. And he says, Sue was a dedicated clinician. I met her when she traveled across the country to attend a continuing education conference to improve upon her already substantial skill. I communicated with her when she supported members of her community who did not have access to services. She was a good person and an excellent teacher. This is from another parent. Sue was such a wonderful collaborator. We shared many clients as well as a passion for learning as professionals to try find new ways to help children. Sue was very welcoming when I first opened my speech therapy practice in Cupertino, and years later when my own daughter was struggling to learn to read. I knew exactly who I would entrust her with her care. Sue. For nearly a year, Sue worked with my daughter until she was not only up to her classmates, but a little girl who actually chose to read and got the hang of phonics and spelling. Sue made it fun, and I cherished the opportunity for Sarah, my daughter, to work with her, as she did with all the children I referred to her. Sending my deepest condolences to Sue's family, friends, and the professionals who will miss her very much. This is from another parent. My son was doing better in school, and nowadays he's an avid book reader. So Sue, I'm impressed with you. We're all impressed with you, and we will carry your legacy forward with care, with compassion, and with the same dedication you modeled for us every day.